Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
So it's April, and somewhere between January and now, something went away. You know what I'm talking about? The New Year's resolution, the plan, the version of yourself you were going to be by summer. Maybe it was the gym membership or the diet or the number on the scale, the number in the bank account, all the things that you said, maybe only to yourself, that you were going to have by this time of the year. On the first of the year, you start with this genuine mindset, like this strong intention. You weren't being performative. You weren't putting a medal on your chest before you got started. You really meant it. And then February hit, then March, and now it's April. And while the goal might still be technically true, it's mostly a source of low-grade guilt. And you've really got good at not looking at what you were supposed to do. That's one take. There's another one. It's April. You've hit your objective. Whatever you thought it was, the number in the bank account, the promotion, the title, the thing you've been working for all that time. And you got it. And the feeling that was supposed to come with it, the one that you always kind of expected would happen when you were planning and executing and all of that stuff, that vibe never hit. It didn't show up. You gave yourself the pat on the back for just a minute, and it was gone. And you were already looking for the next thing, already negotiating with yourself about why this time you beat the game, it didn't quite count as well as the next time you're going to beat the game. Both of those experiences, while having wildly different outcomes, are led by the same mechanism. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago about the MacGuffin, the object in the story that you're so deeply convinced is important that it's actually kind of not important to the quest, right? The quest itself becomes driven to achieve this thing, whatever it is. The MacGuffin's goal in the films is to organize the pursuit of the thing, right? You got to get whatever that is. It's the Maltese Falcon. It's the, Death Star plans, whatever. But what we don't often understand is that we create these things for ourselves. The beach body that you were working towards is its own type of MacGuffin. The resolution or the job goals or the gold star on your vest or that one more ritual or that one more title or degree. All of these things are these objects, these objectified understandings that we create to try and move ourselves forward. But when the arrival comes, it's just not there. And this is important to know because it's not to suggest that these objectives that you create are wrong. It's not to say that goals aren't a good idea. But if the underlying intention isn't real and worth following, somewhere along the way, somewhere on that path between what you think you want and what you get, you lose all of the stuff that makes it matter. And this is where we want to talk to a real meaningful understanding about what it means to want a thing versus to want a way. We oftentimes will want objects. We'll create these desires, and from them we'll want the objective outcome. And when you don't build the things you want or your ambition or your desire around the experience about what you were actually trying to feel, and what you want that to play out in your everyday experience, you never get there from here. That closing of that gap never happens. So you create these objects, these chest metals or things like that, with this sense that there's a vibe that's going to come with it, and the vibe doesn't show up, and then the achievement's hollow. Over the course of this week, we're going to explore this a little bit, because it's a pervasive thing that happens when we try and make the translation from what we want to feel and what we end up creating. So over the course of this week, we'll talk more about that. See you tomorrow.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.